Hello there, my dear viewers, and welcome to haQ attaQ. In this episode, I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated because I've been trying to find a really good USB-C hub solution for my iPad, but I have been unable to do so because they've all failed in some way. I just want to begin by saying that I tried priming a bit for this episode by putting up a poll regarding USB-C hubs because I wanted to know what you were using. And when I did that, I knew I was going to get a slew of different brand names and everything, which is why I asked for those of you who chose others in this poll to actually just comment down below and just state what you're using. Because it turns out that with USB-C, stuff do not have to be MFI certified. You can pretty much buy almost any type of USB-C cable or hub, and it will most of the time work. And yes, I know there are people who are gonna come in and say, hey, that's not my experience, man. Well, yes, I get it. Sometimes it doesn't work. But technically, most of these USB-C hubs and cables should work with your USB-C equipped iPad. And so now you have kind of a luxury problem, because when it comes to the amount of products you can buy, well, there's so many of them, so many brands, so many types of products, so many solutions, so many types of ports, and so many amounts of ports, so many different prices. It's hard to know what to get. And sometimes these things are, well, they're not well designed enough to fit really well with your iPad. And I'm just going to take you through the ones that have failed for me so far. And yeah. Now, one thing I want to highlight is that I was trying to solve many problems in one. I wanted a port with a USB-A connector. I wanted a headphone port. I'm still salty about the fact that there are no headphone ports on these devices, and I need that. And I wanted a PD port, a power through port, so I could charge my devices while also using them. Now, I didn't need everything all at once, which is why I have all these different connectors, because when I'm mobile, sometimes I just want something where I can connect my headphones and then maybe a portable USB power pack for charging. So the first one I want to start with is the Anker Power Expand Direct 6-in-1 USB-C PD Media Hub. This one has one USB-A port. It's got that USB-C PD port rated at 60 watts so you can charge at the same time. It's got an HDMI port and micro SD and SD card slots. And then it's got a headphone port. So pretty much everything you need in order to be productive. So how does this one fail? Well, it fails for me because of its design. I don't carry this one with me when I'm being mobile because it doesn't sit that well on my iPad when I've got my cover on it. And the cover is not something I want to remove. What do I mean by that? Well, this thing has ridges on the sides of the units, and these are designed to kind of hold on to the iPad. So it's got a good design. They've thought about this, right? It's supposed to sit there. The problem is when you have a cover on the back, it kind of pushes against the ridge, so you can't fit the power expand properly. And that's not the only problem. You know that really satisfactory click or snapping feeling you can get with a charging cable? It's not there with the power expand. I don't know if it's this part being too short or something. It just doesn't feel good. And it doesn't take much for me to make that thing pop off. It's happened accidentally when I've just been working and I accidentally just tapped the thing with my finger while typing or something. So that, together with the fact that I actually have to offset or remove my cover from the back completely in order to make this thing fit properly, and even when it does fit, it doesn't do that well, just makes it a bad overall fit for me when I'm working mobile, when I'm not in my studio. However, I still use this thing in my studio because out of all of the USB-C hubs I'm using, this one is the only one that is still working as long as it's properly connected. Now, another solution I tried was the Baseus bend angle number 7 USB hub USB-C space gray, and mine has an on-off switch. Baseus still makes these products and they don't have that power switch anymore. So this one has two USB-A ports. It's got a USB-C PD power through port rated for 100 watts, so you can use a slightly larger adapter with this one if you want. It's got a HDMI port, it's got a micro SD port on the back of the unit, and then it's got a headphone port and an on-off switch. it's been designed to fit on the upper right edge of the iPad Pros. Now, either the 11 or the 12.9 inch, and it's even got speaker holes on the unit. Now, it has some paddings that it comes with in the box so that you can switch it out depending on the thickness of the unit you're mounting this to. So it can even fit on top of the lid of MacBooks. So overall, nice product, has every port you need. And so how did it fail? You see, over time, this thing was wiggling up and down, back and forth, I think, when I was using it. And I could see that the metal part was getting longer, elongated, and suddenly one day it stopped working. I think the connections inside broke or something. So that's definitely the weak point of this unit. And it took 9 months, and it was useless. And it's not a cheap device. It's still about $55, you know? Now, the second problem was that it didn't really fit as snugly as I wanted it to, because these paddings are kind of designed to work with the keyboard folios or directly against an iPad body. And that's not what I'm using, because I'm using this cover and I don't want to have to take it off all the time. So it wasn't an overall fit. And now the thing is broken. Now here's one I tried, and I tried this one because I just simply wanted something with a lot of USB-A ports, and I wanted a way of connecting a LAN connection directly to my iPad so I could get some high-speed internet going. So it has 3 USB-A connectors, it's got a PD port rated at 100 watts, and then it's got a LAN connector. Now this thing worked quite well for about a little over a year until it broke. And this wasn't cheap either. It was still like $40 for me to buy this thing. And I don't have much more to say about it. It was just supposed to be a multi-port for my USB-A stuff and a LAN connector. And it was working until it didn't work anymore. Now, I did try out some things that I wanted to use in a mobile situation where I didn't really need USB stuff. So I tried out a Luxorparts USB-C to USB-C and 3.5mm adapter. Basically just a headphone port and a PD power through port. And this one worked until it stopped working. It just broke. This one lasted me for about a little over a year also. So when this broke, I was looking for something else, and that's when I started buying the Baseus hub, and when that broke, I bought the Anker hub, and when I realized that was something I couldn't bring with me, I got a Mcdodo 60-watt USB-C audio adapter. It's basically just a headphone port and a power through port rated at 60 watts. Well, this thing has worked so far, but I want to say I've only been using it for 6 months, and it has a little issue. As you can see, it kind of flies over the unit. There's some air gaps in between here. And that is a problem, because when wagging this up and down, it sometimes perfectly accesses the commands for the volume control. And that's beautiful when you're working with some high energy synth sounds that are really, really loud. And then suddenly you just manage to nudge this Mcdodo thing and it just raises the volume to the max. It really is a problem. And I'm still trying to find something that sits a little bit more flush against the unit. First of all, for anyone who works mobile, if you're away from your studio, then I would advise you, if you are using MIDI controllers, to get something with a Bluetooth connection, because that is one cabled connection you do not have to make with your iDevice. You don't have to rely on any cables or hubs. Now next, if you're using a USB class compliant sound interface or USB mixer with your iDevice, since you're already maybe using a MIDI controller with a Bluetooth connection, you now have that single port over for connecting to that USB sound interface or USB mixer. So you'll only need a cable, meaning if the cable breaks, you can always have extra cables with you, and it's easier and cheaper to replace a USB cable than replacing an entire hub. Now, in the studio, however, what I want to recommend is the official Apple USB-C to USB-A adapter. And I want to recommend it because it is probably the one that has the best fit for the iPad when it comes to the port side, because Apple made it so it's gonna fit really well, like a glove. So I want to recommend that together with a really good powered hub for all of the USB gear you're gonna be using. And that would be a really good stable connection to have in the studio. However, and it's a big however, this thing doesn't allow you to charge your iPad at the same time because it doesn't have a PD port. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. I want to be wrong because I have searched and I have waited and I have searched the Apple Store and I still cannot find a USB-C to USB-A and power through PD port. Apple, what are you thinking? Why haven't you made that yet? I don't get it. They made one for the Lightning one with the USB-A and the Lightning power through port. Why not for USB-C? Anyone in the audience, if I'm wrong about this, if Apple did make it, please link it down below. Please tell me I'm wrong in that case. I just can't find it. So in the end, the advice I want to give you is, why don't you come back in maybe a year or two and maybe I'll have a new answer for you? In the end, I wish I could help out more by just buying up all the hubs I can and testing them out and telling you what's good and what's not good. But I can't do that because I don't have the budget for it. I just don't have money shooting out of my asshole. And if I did, I wouldn't tell anyone because I'd probably end up having a very bad existence. Someone would kidnap me, drive me around in a truck, having me squirt money out of my all day, and then, you know, I'd have to get different salves and stuff to fix my cut up bum. There are ways that you can financially support me, so maybe I can buy more hubs by buying some of my preset packs. I say some, I only have 2 out right now over at Gumroad. They're really good. They have sound examples and everything, so you can check them out. One pack is for Trooper Synthesizer, the other one is for Timeless 3. All necessary links are down in the description. And if you don't want to do that, then you can support me over at Patreon, where Patreons actually get these packs for no extra charge. So they can just download them instantly as soon as they pledge, they get in there, they can download both preset packs. Now, if you don't want to do that, I got PayPal. If you don't want to do that, you can buy my music. I got links to that down in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you don't want to do any of it, that's fine too. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.